Come, let us explore this morning's meditation class and group practice that we too could meditate like a Jedi. This morning's lesson is based upon the 47th passage of the meditation classic Unwinding Victory Banner, composed so many centuries ago by the great Buddhist reformer Vajra, of a land then known as Odiyana and now known as Pakistan's Swat Valley. Together, let us relaxingly recite this admittedly cryptic text. From different colors of rainbow light, the attributes of the Buddha families directly manifest. Likewise, the animate and inanimate world originates from the 5 elements. What does that mean? So, to explain it, first we're going to review the basics, and then we're going to get into the particulars. So I'm going to move from this teaching text to a set of visual aids, and by the way, both the visual aids and the teaching text are available for free download. Charles Dickens wrote A Tale of Two Cities. Come, let us discuss a tale of two archetypes. Whether we like the idea of yin or the idea of the Buddha, they often represent the attributes of being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. But there's another set of archetypes, known as yang, or the Buddha's foolish cousin Devadatta, which represent the archetypes of being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Clearly, one is the opposite of the other. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, including meditation teachers. Therefore, it should come as little surprise that the majority of meditation instruction implores its students to actively focus and actively analyze, independent upon our medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. That region evolved to be used sporadically and intermittently. We overuse it at our peril and begin presenting with symptoms of depression, and then trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Consider, if you will, our spinal cord, known as our autonomic nervous system, nicknamed our Buddha nature. Why is it that? Why is it nicknamed our Buddha nature? Every time we inhale, we have evolved to automatically access the mid part of our spinal cord, known as the sympathetic aspect, which has evolved to help us to notice in a special way, to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which is the opposite of focus. We evolved to notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. This includes our faculty to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. Well, that's fine and dandy, but what do we do with this meshagas? Glad you asked. Every time we exhale, we have evolved to automatically access the end bits, or the bookends, if you will, of our spinal cord, known as our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help support both physical relaxation as well as mental release, to the point that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful less permanent, and less defining, at least until our next inhalation when the cycle begins anew. Now, complex life forms upon this planet have evolved to think symbolically. It therefore should not come as any great surprise that humans in every culture use figures of speech. As we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. My fourth grade elementary teacher taught all of us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. Therefore, we have to ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand? Now that we've reviewed the basics, let's explore the particulars of this morning's passage. I know what it's like to be raised, to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. I know what it's like to be convinced that focus and analysis were the key to the goal of enlightenment, which seemed to be forever out of reach. The reason it was out of reach is that anything that supports anxiety and aggression is antithetical to contentment and compassion and cooperation. But before I pulled my head out of the warm, dark, smelly place I was keeping it, I was enamored with complex systems. Systems that correlated the 5 chakras with the 5 elements and the 5 colors and the 5 aggregates and the 5 Buddha families, convinced that in this complexity of, of 25 different elements, in this alphabet of 25 different elements, I could somehow type out a shortcut to enlightenment itself. I was mistaken. There are many people who get very, very anxious about those 25 things that I just mentioned. They were frightened that if they focus on one thing instead of the other, they won't become a Buddha, or vice versa. Here's the funny thing. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever color we noticed during our previous inhalation feels as if it's melting into the simplicity of just a sight. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever Buddha we thought of feels as if it was melting into the simplicity of just an entity. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever animate or inanimate object we noticed could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of just an object. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever element we noticed during our previous inhalation feels as if it was melting into the simplicity of just an element. Our job is not to pick and choose what to focus on. Our job is to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice whatever seems to cartwheel across the stage of our mind, and then relax as best we can until the onset of the next inhalation. What is the easiest way to practice the mindfulness that is simply noticing mind's antics? Silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time you feel your diaphragm pull in and down as you breathe in. Similarly, silently and mentally recite the key to practicing the meditation, which is simply relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature, is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease. Each time we feel our diaphragm relax back up into its upright position as our body gently exhales. Having completed our opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Luke Skywalker Friday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping, this is the Dzogchen Sende Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to Nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, let us meditate. So having sat for the better part of 15 minutes, feel free to adjust your legs, especially if you're prone to arthritis, like yours truly. The most efficient way to keep track of our first collection of 144 inhalations is to rest the first knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Testing? Okay. We could keep track of our next 12 inhalations by touching the tip of our right thumb, or using the tip of our right thumb to count the 3 sets of creases found upon each of the 4 fingers of our right hand. We could use the tip of our left thumb and the 3 sets of creases found upon each of the 4 fingers of our left hand to count 12 sets of 12 inhalations each, for a total of 144. You may wish to adjust your legs every 15 minutes or so. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about every 5 minutes or so. to keep track of your second collection of 144 inhalations. You could rest the second knuckle of your right index finger upon the tip of your left index finger, palms up in your lap. The key to mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. And the key to meditation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. We notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly as we breathe in, and as we exhale, we physically relax and mentally release, even just momentarily. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.